This is a division, Mr. Swingler, that comes with, as we used to say in the news business, more questions than answers this morning about the NFC South headed into the NFL. That's what we would say. Police have more questions than answers about the murder in East Waco this morning. But we're not talking about a murder. We're talking about a celebration. It's football. Do you want to reveal the rankings and go through them?
Sure.
We can start with yours. How about that?
We started with yours last week, so that's only fair, Pete. I think that's only what we need to be doing here.
Yeah.
So we're looking at NFC South today, and for me, this is how it plays out, and I will explain. As we go through these division previews, Pete, it'd be really easy to just rank everything the same as it fell last year, which was really tempting for this division in particular because there are a lot of questions. I think the thing I feel most strongly about is that the New Orleans Saints will be at the bottom, and maybe that's unfair, and I do believe in Kellen Moore, but I do not believe in any quarterback on their roster. When it's Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler that's going to trot out there week one, I am not very confident, no matter who else you've got or no matter who's coaching, I'm not very confident that you can finish very high in this division. So I feel very strongly that's probably the safest pick on my board.
Their over-under, by the way, is 5.5 wins. That means you're going to suck.
And I might, when I was going through each of these team schedules last night and thinking about this, they might win 3 or 4. It really might be a bad year in New Orleans. It really might. And Tyler Shuck, let's not only mention, Tyler Shuck is their presumed starter, the rookie, who I don't think is going to be very good as it is. Yeah. And he could totally prove me wrong. But he's also injury prone.
Yeah.
He has been injured multiple times. So what happens if your not great rookie starts 4 weeks and then gets hurt? Are you going to win a bunch of games with Spencer Rattler back there? It's just, it would not surprise me if they trade for a Joe Flacco or a Russell Wilson if the Giants end up starting Jackson
Somebody
Dart.
Just to hold the fort down.
Yes, or I was shocked they gave Jameis Winston's in New York. Yeah. Why isn't Jameis Winston in New Orleans? I feel strongest about that.
Wherever Jameis is, I want him to play.
Absolutely. Yeah. Panthers, I just don't know how to make heads or tails of them. I don't know if Bryce Young is going to continue kind of the upswing he had at the end of last year.
Clearly, prognosticators think so, though. Some people have.
But we don't know. You said, more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Here's what I am confident in. I do think it will be these two teams at the top, and you could talk me into either one of them finishing first. I think as I look through their schedules, I could see the Falcons or the Bucs winning 9 to 11 games. So let's just say they each win about 10. Yeah. That's probably my prediction. I'm very high on the Falcons, Pete. Very high. And
I know because your boy toy Penix. Love him.
I would never call him a boy toy. I think that's kind of gross the way you just said that. But I really like Michael Penix. I liked him when he was at Washington. I liked him coming out into the draft. I was shocked he was ranked so low. Yeah. I was thrilled the Falcons took him so high. I love that he sat behind Kirk Cousins for most of last season. I think for a lot of NFL quarterbacks, that's proven to be very beneficial as they grow, especially in their first year. He looked good, not great when he got to play last year. I definitely think he'll improve. They've got weapons, man. Bijan Robinson. Yeah. We're all just inevitably waiting. What is this, year 4 or 5? We're waiting for Kyle Pitts to become dominant. Yeah. Drake London's a legit number one. They address defense in the draft.
That's a big point for me.
And what people forget is the Falcons were not great last year, and they won 8 games. Yes. So it's not a stretch to say 10. This year, now that you've got quarterback locked down, if Penix stays healthy.
Also you look at your division, you're playing the Saints and Carolina 4 times.
Right. And here's my last thing. The last reason I picked it this way, because the Bucs are the favorite in this division by Vegas odds. But this is, I think, their 4th consecutive year with a different OC. Yeah. And I love Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield's criminally underrated. I think he's a really good NFL player. But it's just, you have to imagine, if you keep swapping OCs every season.
Yeah, they're on their 5th one.
5th one, okay. Eventually, something's going to come off. So if I'm going to give an edge to one of these teams, Falcons, more consistency, addressed needs in the draft. I like Penix. They won 8 games last year. I could see the Bucs regressing and the Falcons coming to the top. I think both of those teams are playoff teams, though.
Okay. Here's my thing back about Tampa, because I agree. Do you want to get to mine? Okay. So I got Tampa At the top. And the reason I do is because same thing for the Eagles last year. You know, like they lost, it was like, what do they call it? Like the brain drain, you know? They lost both their OC and DC, and they won the Super Bowl. You know, so everybody talks about that with the Lions. It's kind of off topic, right. But like I still think the Lions will be great. Like I think we kind of maybe sometimes can overrate that a little bit.
We're going to find out very quickly how valuable Ben Johnson really was.
Yes, we are, and we're going to find out too how if Tampa and the infrastructure there offensively, whether I don't know the inner workings of that organization, but clearly it's been solid enough to be able to navigate for their quarterbacks and specifically Baker Mayfield all those changes at coordinator. So my thing is I believe that they'll continue to find a way during those changes. I also think something I mentioned when we were talking about your teams is like this isn't a great division. Right. So and Tampa has the 10th easiest schedule in the NFL according to Warren Sharp and his rankings, and I think that really lends itself to their ability to succeed this year. I mean, honestly, man, I have Tampa as like almost like you hold your nose and pick a team. I don't, and I'm not. That's not. I just don't. Nobody knocks me over in this division, right? I mean. Atlanta, I like the main thing the Falcons needed to do was get better at pass rush, and they picked up James Pearson, Jalen Walker.
That's
like
right.
Those guys are bad boys.
Yes,
dude.
exactly right.
The Falcons, I think, were last in the league in sacks last year, and that that screws you up more than we can even explain, right? Like because your D-backs are getting roasted because you give these quarterbacks in the NFL time, they're going to find a way.
Well, and even in division, Pete, if you're going to mess Bryce Young and Tyler Shuck up, that's a huge thing. Like Baker Mayfield, we know can get away from pressure. We don't know if Bryce Young and Tyler Shuck can do that in the NFL yet.
Yeah, no, we don't. And the Panthers, like. I would love to see them do well. You know, I lived in Charlotte, and they sucked so bad last year. I don't know how Bryce Young's going to be.
Well, and I don't know. Their roster is so unproven, too, even beyond Bryce Young. You have way more known commodity, I think, in these other two teams.
Like, let me see. I'm just curious. Let me go back. I just want to get the over-under for the Falcon, or for the, whatchamacallits, for the Panthers. I have it right here. I
think the Falcons are at 7.5 right now, and I would smash the over on that.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's one of the best bets in Vegas right now. Just to be honest with you, like again, we're talking about them as if they were bad last year. They won 8 games.
So the Panthers are 6.5 over under. I would take the under on that big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a harder bet for me though than over on the Falcons. I think.
So the Falcons are 7.5.
That's what I saw this morning.
That's pretty good, dude.
I think that's a pretty safe over.
And then of course we look at the Saints, and that's just can they be that bad? I wonder.
They've been that bad plenty of times in their history, haven't they?
Yeah, but it's been a minute, right? Like
that's true. They've been a very functional organization.
Yeah, they always battle back.
Thank you, Sean Payton.
Yeah, last year was kind of rough, right? But I don't know. Who's their who's the Saints quarterback?
Shuck.
Yeah.
They're going to start Tyler Shuck.
Are you sure, dude?
Yes.
You don't think they'll start Spencer Rattler?
No. If Spencer Rattler was a starter, he would have proven it last year. He would have, and he was not very good last year.
Yeah. Well, that's just not a good situation.
No,
right?
That's what I'm saying. They're going to win 3 games, the Saints, in my opinion. They're really going to struggle.
So will they be the worst team in the NFL?
I think they'll be competing for it. I think there's a good chance.
Well, now we're talking. Now, what about, and this goes back to our earlier time.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
What if Arch Manning?
What a home run that would be.
I mean, now that is when you step back and you reassess the situation.
Now
I'm doing the thing that I hate. But if the Saints had the last pick in the draft, or the first pick in the draft, they finished last. And we talked earlier on the show, if you're just watching this in segments, about how...
And remember, he played private high school football there.
Arch Manning did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it'd be like a homecoming for him in a lot of ways.
I mean,
that'd be sick.
We were talking earlier in the show that Arch Manning will stay a couple years in Texas, and there's a ton of reasons why he will. And you can check that segment out if you want. But there's also they're not going to. The Mannings aren't going to have him leave school to play for the Browns or a team that might be a bad situation. But the Saints really could expedite his situation.
And here's the other thing, dude. And then I want to make one more point about the Bucs. Here's the thing about Arch Manning. We are already anointing him as if he's the number one pick, and I get why. But he has not been a starter for a full season in college football yet. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing I was yelling at you about Belichick yesterday. He's proven it at one level. He has not proven it at another level. Arch Manning, I think if I was a betting man, I'd say he's going to be a great college quarterback. Well, I would bet on him, but we don't know. And here's the thing. This quarterback class for this upcoming draft is deep. Yeah. There's about 5 or 6 guys that are going to have opportunities to go to the NFL and start.
It's funny, Scotty, because you bring up a great point. I don't know, and this could be another topic, like tomorrow or whatever. I don't know that we have seen a sure thing like this, right? Air quotes, if you're listening, sure thing, like Arch Manning. We really have not, like in the NFL in a long time. Chris Sims was talking this morning with Mike Florio, and Sims was basically like, dude, everyone I've talked to, like NFL executives. Now, Sims is a Texas guy, but like everyone I've talked to, NFL executives, like they say he's the number one pick. Like no doubt about it. So these guys know way more than me.
The two people it reminds me of, the two guys that have been talked like this before in my lifetime that I remember are Trevor Lawrence and Andrew Luck. And those guys are generational college quarterbacks.
Luck was awesome.
And Luck was a good NFL quarterback.
Trevor.
It's unfortunate he retired. But yeah, Trevor's not been a good NFL quarterback. He's been mediocre at best. Yeah. So I don't know. We don't know who Arch is. By the way, bear the truth. I didn't see this before I commented. Right before I made a comment, he said, "Is it not too early to anoint Arch?" And then he said, "Yes, thank you." So clearly, that's not a bad thought. I want to make one more point before we move on from this division. If it's the Bucs and the Falcons fighting for that top spot, which I think Vegas thinks so, we think so. Yeah. Where I think the Falcons have an advantage as well is they have a young, improving core, and the Bucs have an aging core. Yeah. And Mike Evans has been remarkably durable in his career, and Baker Mayfield has been remarkably good lately and durable in his career. But if you told me like between Evans, Godwin, who's been hurt a lot lately, Baker, versus Penix, Pitts, Bijan, and Drake London, I'm like, man, one of those cores is coming into their prime. One of them
is fading,
are moving out of their prime. Yeah. And maybe this isn't the year that puts the Falcons over the edge, but that's another reason. Is I was like, these teams are really similar to me.
You're pushing me to make this Falcons bet, dude.
I mean, it's a good team. I really like that roster. And
I do not think – I think the Panthers are going to suck, which is why I think you can kind of feast on Tampa Bay and Atlanta with the over because –
And I think, I said, they will both make the playoffs.
And that's 4 wins, dude. I'm sorry. You should not – if you're Atlanta or Tampa Bay, you should not lose to those teams once. So give them 4 right away.
Right. And I think it's very conceivable they split when they face off.
Yeah. All right, good stuff, Scotty. Yeah, you've really got me. I'm moving towards this Falcons bet.